in this final episode, we will discuss what wisdom in your life is going to do with this. Enjoy.
So, we're in episode number 7, and I guess the question is that if somebody has been through, all 6 or some before, and they've arrived at this podcast, is where do we go from here? Mm. And in particular, how can you get involved? How can you begin to expand on this? How can you begin to learn? How can you begin to experience some of the things? Unlearn, as we'll talk about. Any of the things that we've been talking about in the other 6 episodes. So do you want to give us an idea of where we, wisdom in your life, are going to be focusing going forwards, given what we've done?
Yeah, so going forward now, we've got probably 4 or 5 sort of bigger projects that we're going to work on, and we're going to start with the collective. And the what we've learnt over this last year in doing many collective circular collaborations with different organisations and that is we actually never know what's going to emerge from them. Yeah. But we always set an intention. We come together for a particular purpose. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that we will get groups of about 50 people in a cohort to come together to have a collective circular collaboration on the rebirth of humanity.
Yeah. So
that together we can live aligned to the energy pattern of humanity. And so that's one. So
you say cohorts of 50.
Yeah.
So what sort of people would join that cohort? Is it a whole organisation or is it individuals? It
could be a mixture of both.
Yeah.
But probably the key to it all is people that have already done their individual work, right? Yep. In terms of they're not getting triggered. They're not caught up in drama and probably the most important thing is that they've known for a long time that deep inside them they've got a calling to do something bigger or better or that will enhance humanity. Yeah. This isn't about making money. It really isn't. It's about what can we give to humanity to enable this rebirth to occur.
So it's like feeding the soil that we talked about before.
Yeah, and it's like, for the last few hundred years, maybe thousands of years, the soil has too much salting. So we need groups of people that are willing to
go clean it up.
Mm-hmm. And it may mean planting some trees. It might mean, developing salt extraction techniques. I don't know. Metaphorically, yeah. But what we do know is that when we form collective circular collaborations and we come together in these groups or these collectives, amazing stuff emerges.
Yes.
And that has been consistent over 25 years.
And when people follow that calling, so if obviously people have made it to the 7th podcast, I trust that there's something there that has kept their interest. And so for those who we will meet in the future, when we all do come together and as a collective, we have the process and the practices to enable everyone's deepest knowing to come forward to enable their cosmic purpose or, legacy or to nurture that calling, that deepest knowing. And like you say, we don't know what comes out of this, but we know that it exists.
Yeah.
And we're also following our calling
Yes.
with calling people in as well and doing what we are doing and coming together as a collective ourselves.
And that was commonality between the three of us was that we all knew from a very early age that we were, it's nearly like destined or to come together with someone or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, as you know, I've been doing this work for 25, 30 years or my whole life. And I never realised until this year, when we have actually had this collective between the three of us, what the possibilities could emerge. Because I knew my deepest knowing, but combining it with yours and yours was a total game changer. Like, you know, at the beginning of this year, if you said we were going to unearth the energy pattern of humanity, I would have gone, what? Don't be ridiculous, right? Yeah. And so we want to create these cohorts all around the world that are working for humanity.
Yes.
And we will teach you the processes and practices to get to that place where you can become a collective with like-minded people and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
If I could just add, it's get to your place.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've arrived at my place in my late 40s, 50.
Yeah.
And yet, to put it into context for anybody listening to this, is that deep knowing of I should be doing something else also came with a level of restlessness. And then, sadly, at times, I got really good at covering that over with a layer of avoidance to avoid the possibility that I might live my lifetime and not take my place to do the things I'm supposed to be doing, which is devastatingly sad. Devastatingly sad. So if that is you, then at least start to reach out.
Yeah.
So that is very much around the collectives.
Yes.
What are the other focus areas?
So that's the collective of humanity. There's also another little bit that's sort of between the collective and the next one I'm going to talk about, which is the social fabric. And this won't be coming online this year, but in 2026, our Leaders Without Borders.
Yeah.
And that is getting people of influence who want to do something for humanity, but also for their own business, their own community.
Yeah.
This is more directed. And it's to build their sphere of influence based on their energy pattern, but also learning how everything is connected. So it's basically learning realm theory,
Yeah.
but applied to their own life.
Yes.
So it's almost, to use a metaphor here, the first bit for humanity is tending to the soil.
Yeah.
And Leaders Without Borders are those who want to grow things from the soil.
Exactly. Totally.
In line with
Yeah.
the ways of nature and energy
Yeah.
patterns.
And
Super.
yeah, and then the next area is actually weaving the social fabric of society. So this is different from the collective. This is, and the weave comes from the relationships and connections,
Yes.
right? And we can do that in businesses. That's probably the
Primary focus so
primary
far.
focus so far, but also in communities.
Yeah. Yep.
So we've started this year the Seven Sisters project,
Yeah.
and that is weaving
Yeah.
people together and building those connections and stuff. So this would be more suited to if you're listening and you own a business. You go, I wonder what the energy pattern of our business is. And because the people in your business are your greatest asset.
They are your business.
They are your business, yeah. And to actually invest in them to create this safe network of people. And whether you're a business or whether you're a community group or whether you're a school, they all need this network, this social fabric to stop people falling through the cracks.
And I think it's also investing in the people, but also investing in the entity which is the business or the community group or the community, itself, because that needs tending to, and that needs a level of guardianship to make sure, destructive patterns don't get stuck in it, that then influence everybody inside of it. Because it's in that, many of the business leaders that have come to us have recognised recurring patterns and conventional stuff doesn't work for it. So it's going into a bit of a deeper place.
And because people need to understand that a business is a living entity. So you can't have one size fits all. You can't have this particular structure. Each business needs its own structure, flow, connections, which comes from the energy pattern. And, just on those destructive patterns, most people come because something's going wrong in their life. And, we've talked about this, flipping the script on that, is why can't we reach out when we just want to grow and expand or find our cosmic purpose or,
rather than waiting for the bridge to be burning so much that you're flung off catastrophe bridge.
And then
we're here to help then,
or when you're so uncomfortable that you crack, right? We know that metaphor.
And why do people have to crash and burn before they reach out and get help?
Right.
And it's not even help. It's just seeing the world in a different way. It's a different perspective.
And then flipping the script on life.
And which comes back to, I'm pretty sure you spoke about it in one of the earlier podcasts, Storm, about, you had to let go of so many false narratives. And yours wasn't dealing with a lot of emotional baggage per se. It was letting go of things that we've grown up that are actually hindering our growth. That can be quite challenging. And so, and that's what the social fabric is. Because, part of that is trusting people. But if you've had experiences and learnt to be scared of everyone, then there is no social fabric.
Or it's a false serving social fabric that we convince ourselves is serving.
Also, just in that whole, building the social fabric, one of the keys to actually developing relationships and having connections with people is actually knowing yourself really well. And so, we have the whole process that takes people through knowing their nature, place, purpose, energy patterns, anchor and source. And just doing those 5 things for a lot of people, it makes life so much easier for you. Because you know what'll work for you and what won't. And because you know your place and your purpose, you will either naturally attract people that align with that, or those opportunities will come to you.
And when things don't work out, we don't take offence to it, or we don't take it personally, because we just know that it's not right. It is what it is.
Because we're navigating our emotional landscape.
And I've spoken to a number of people this year, and they're like, and they're in their 50s, and they go, I actually don't know who I am.
Or how I work.
Or how I work. And
or what I like.
Or what I like. What I need. I asked a person this year, what do you need in your marriage? And she still hasn't been able to answer me. And each time she comes back to see me, she goes, I'm still can't identify what I need. And I'm like, and I thought that was going to be a simple question.
So in a way, our social fabric as it is at the moment is so entangled and twisted that we struggle to untwist things to see them clearly, to then communicate them.
Absolutely.
We are so entangled in the entanglement of our social fabric.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the state of it.
And
the
yeah.
state of
So
it.
it's like a fishing net. that's
Fishing
gone
net,
like this.
yeah, totally.
And-
Yeah.
You know, and what smooths it out is kindness. And,
Patience as
and
well,
Kindness, patience,
and doing the work.
and yeah. And what I've noticed just this last week is my grandson showed me some of the messages he's getting from his friends, and they're just really, really mean. And it's come out in a number of conversations with young people, is how people message and talk to one another is just really mean. There's no kindness. And
But it's the norm now. Is that is
it's the norm.
yeah.
And it's the norm, and they dismiss it as nothing,
Minimizing.
minimising it. Yeah,
Which we see in workplaces with cold abrupt
Oh,
messages and things like that.
Yeah. And so then the final, I suppose, piece of where this will take us is to the mental health area, which, you know, we've been working in for a number of years. And it's actually really taking people from being totally shattered all the way through to being emotionally, mentally robust.
Yeah.
And I'm still surprised when people can't believe, like, they've been told for so many years that nothing can be done for them.
Yeah.
You just need to have this medication for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Or
learn to live with.
or manage
Learn to manage, yes.
the symptoms. When we actually connect, and, you know, healing mental health is really all about connecting to our deepest knowing, knowing our own energy patterns.
Yeah.
Because so much of the dysfunction is in our thinking, in our feelings, in our beliefs,
Yeah.
or even in our behaviours,
Yeah.
which are all connected, obviously. And and people don't realise that you can heal.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it's important as well. We talk about mental health, but within that, and especially for wisdom, we cover, that's a terrible word, but we work with mental health in the sense of physical, emotional, mental, spiritual as well. All of those parts or aspects that make us human, right? Not just, so for the listeners, not just, we're not isolating mental health as emotional,
And
mental, behavioural. We go way deeper
It's
than
how
that.
the whole thing works together,
Yes. Yeah.
And because of the social influence as well.
Yeah.
which
So-
is from the social fabric.
Yeah, the social fabric, and if it's all twisted, you learn, you know, you learn from your friends when you're 12 that it's, you know, the words and how you talk to people is like this. Then you go into a intimate relationship, and all of a sudden, you know, your wife or husband doesn't want to be called names, and they wonder why that falls apart. So, you know, the social influences it, our
The play
environment,
out.
Yeah.
you know, even the government policies, like,
Yeah.
you know, and homelessness and all of that. And so, it is, you know, I say mental health, but it's actually all of that.
Yeah.
It's the whole picture. It's our whole world that we live in.
Yeah. And it's not just I suffer with anxiety or depression and have had suicidal ideation or any of those things, and then we get you to a stable place. It's that stable place is almost step zero.
Yeah.
So you can then go and develop as an individual in this individual focus of ours. You know, we say mental health because most people's mental and emotional health is not in the best place.
No.
because they don't have the practices and the framework and the understanding of what they need to do on a day-to-day basis to look after themselves, like they might do around their eating or brushing their teeth or something like that. So this is about getting people just as back to step 0 or step 1, and then what are the steps to actually then go on to become robust, to know who you are in the world, how you work, so then you can do some of the really cool stuff that we've been talking about, like create and shape things in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just people that are having problems,
No.
mental health, we can sort that out.
We don't just go from surviving, we go from thriving, creating, living,
Yeah.
integrated in our experience in the world.
Expressing,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where to from here. So if any of them really apply for you, reach out and contact us.
Yeah, any of us.
You can find us on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
on our website.
Yeah.
We'll, over the next few months, we'll be putting up more
Yeah.
detailed information.
Yeah, but by all
Not
means,
months.
get in touch.
Yeah.
And just come and talk.
We've
Yeah.
been doing a lot of background work
Oh.
and groundwork and movements within our little collective, and it's time now for us to
Consolidate.
invite in and
Connect.
collaborate.
Integrate and
Yeah.
expand.
Yeah. And to create. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if we could sum up the 7 podcasts, what do you reckon are the key messages that?
Yeah.
The first one is the key to overcoming dysfunction in an individual or a business or whatever the entity in is to align to your energy pattern.
Yeah.
That's your anchor point from which you can see everything you need to see.
Yeah, and that's really simple.
Super simple.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah,
It's
it is a
super
journey to get there, but it
it's
is simple.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next thing would be letting go of false narratives
Yeah.
and a level of unlearning,
Yeah. And you'd have to identify that they are false narratives.
which is easy to do when you've connected to your energy pattern
Yes.
because you're not.
And the question we asked everyone, does that serve you?
Yeah.
You know, people will come in and they've got certain things they're doing that they don't want to be doing.
Or they can rationalise
Rationalise it.
away.
Oh,
and
rationalise it away,
Rationalise
yeah.
and trade off.
And we will ask the question
Does it
to you,
serve?
does this serve you? If yes, then stay on doing it.
Yep.
If no, then do you want to understand how to undo it?
Yeah.
Unlearn that.
And then the third key takeaway is sustainable change requires trust, collective circular collaborations, and alignment with natural law,
Yeah.
how life unfolds.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be more straightforward than that. Well, you say, don't you?
Yeah.
Life is actually simple.
Yeah.
And
Humans have complicated life so much that most of us don't know how to live.
Yeah. We spend a lot of time navigating that complexity, and when we slow down enough to connect with ourselves and our place and our nature and the laws of the land, we don't get confused.
No.
We have clarity,
Yeah.
and decisions are made with ease and grace, as
purpose.
Bryn would say.
Yeah.
Um,
There we go.
and our world around us shifts to allow those changes to happen as well. So, yeah, what am I trying to say? You will know if you know.
Yeah.
Reach out
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
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 Or not.
Well, thank you for listening to us.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.